Perfect. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Gordo Gambles back here on the Plays and Fades YouTube channel with my beauty of a co-host Kirod. How are we doing after a week off of fights, man?
Good. I think we're doing good. A week off from the UFC. You don't get too many of those. It's a break for us. A little bit of a break for our wallets sometimes. I had a very busy weekend, so I wasn't even thinking about the UFC, but we're back at it again this week. We're excited. It's not the greatest card in the world, but we still got some opportunities to make money and have some good fantasy plays.
You know what? A week off, do some fantasy football, do some videos for you guys for football, and then you come back with a card with there's so many closely lined fights, and that's just an opportunity for us to make the bookies pay. We're not talking about that right now. We are talking about some DraftKings actions, and I am fired up, my friend. I say we don't waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Let's make some money. All right, we've had a week off. We made everybody else in the DraftKings community feel safe for a weekend, and now we take over right here. All right, let's get things started. My favorite play is a risky one. GPP play, gonna be high owned, $9.1 thousand. Give me Marco Match. The man is a Olympic silver medalist, and he is a takedown machine. Now, he is an expensive fighter, and rightfully so. He has a clear path to victory. Takedown, control time, takedown, control time. He's fighting a guy in Clay Guida who is the carpenter. He's been at it for a while. He's a veteran of the sport. Now, the big risk we have with Marco Madsen here is the man gasses out. What I do like about him, though, is he's training over at Fight Ready, a different camp for him here, and he's looking better. He's looking in shape, and he looks ready to go. I'm loving him here at the spot. I think he gets a ton of points with takedown. He averages 98.6 fan points in the first place, and I think he gets takedown after takedown after takedown on Clay Guida. Might be sweating out a third round if you can't finish him in the first two, but I think he is a great play for a start of the day. Now, looking down at his underdog value for the week, the main event, man, Kelvin Gastelum, underdog to the Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier. What are your thoughts on the main event?
The first thing that stands out in this fight is obviously the size difference between these two guys. Cannonier, he's a massive dude, a ton of power, and Gastelum is the exact opposite. He's a small guy. In this fight, Kevin Gastelum has a pretty clear path to victory in that if he closes the distance, just like he did against Heinisch, and he goes for those takedowns, he goes for that control time, he avoids standing on the feet with that spacing with Cannonier. I mean, you're going to get a significantly lower salary than you're getting Jared Cannonier here, even though Cannonier has this high salary because people are expecting him to get a knockout. But Kevin Gastelum has never been knocked out in his entire career. So the chances that this is the first fight that happens in, maybe not the highest chance. And as the underdog with a lower salary here, we think there's a lot of value on Gastelum because he has the ability to close that distance, take Cannonier down, get that control time, and avoid those big punches, which is Cannonier's real way to victory here.
Yeah, man, you covered all the bases there. I think Kelvin Gastelum, people are banking on Cannonier to knock out Kelvin Gastelum. He's never been knocked out, and for rightful, so he's got a great chin. And I think Gastelum's just a better decision fighter. Cannonier's never been 5 rounds. There's so many unknowns, and when you get an underdog price on a guy like Gastelum, who will land takedowns, get control time, and will probably out-volume Cannonier, he has such a low floor for a 5-round fight that I think it's a very good option to have.
Yeah, another very good point. In the 5-round fight, Gastelum's style fits it a lot better than Cannonier's does, and we haven't really seen him in those kind of fights before, so just another reason to take Gastelum here as one of your underdogs this week. All right, we talked about a big favorite. We talked about a relatively big underdog. Who's somebody maybe near to the middle that we're liking this week?
Man, there are so many good options at this mid, let's say, 7,900 to 8,500 range. Two of them that stand out are two fighters with very similar path to victories here, in my opinion, in Brahimaj and Roosevelt Roberts. I mean, talking about Brahimaj first, he had a first fight, horrific accident with his ear. We're not going to get into that. But he is a high level BJJ specialist. I mean, he's won a lot of trophies for it, and that is his path to victory. He didn't shoot a takedown against Griffin, which is questionable, but that is okay because a guy in Palatnikov, who I don't think is really UFC caliber, has been choked out a lot, including his most recent fight against Impa Kasagne. So, if Brahimaj is able to land that takedown, which will score you points, and secure a submission because he's lethal on the ground, you have an amazing high-scoring fighter at an 8.5K price. At the same time, Roberts has a clear advantage on the ground against Ignacio Bahamondes. I mean, they're two very rangy guys. Roberts is just so much better on the ground. You have to look past the fact that he's been submitted his last 2 times out by way better grapplers than Ignacio is. Bahamondes also shoots for takedowns with his neck all the way out here, and Roberts has an insane guillotine. So these are two fighters able to get that submission who I think have a great path to victory here, who will score very high if they are able to do that. So 8,500, 8,400. Two great options, could go either way. You could even take them both. You know how you can take them both? You can take them both their next value play. Tell us a bit about Brandon Royval.
Royval, 7,300, probably only like super useful for you this week in your GPP lineups, but this guy is the definition of a fighter. He thrives when there's chaos going on around him, and that's exactly what he's gonna try to do against Pantoja, who's an incredible fighter, very well-rounded, but Royval is gonna fight for your money this week, man. He has a way of creating chaos with fighters who aren't necessarily as used to it. Spinning elbows, great submission game. He's a fighter and he's a good GPP option here at 7,300 because he has such a low price tag, but he has the ability to create that hecticness that can give you some pretty big upside here if he does end up winning this fight.
I completely agree. I mean, he's a very, very entertaining fighter to watch because he just brings that chaos everywhere, man. Chaos is the word of the week with him. He does a great job at what he does, and I honestly think that he has a better shot than $7,300 does indicate, because if he does win, it should be with a high score because he puts out so much volume and just has so many opportunities to finish with that style. Another man who we like to finish today up top, 9,200, Chase Sherman versus Parker Porter. Questionable one, but I think Sherman just has more power, and if he doesn't gas out, this is his fight to lose. Parker Porter. Oh no. Parker Porter will probably just walk on to that left hand, to any of those things, because Chase Sherman throws bombs. So he's another good GPP option up top. Pair him with Royval, you can get him in there. I think that they both have really good upside, high ceilings, just a bit lower floors. To wrap things off, man, I think you can't go without talking about the late notice replacement, Akramov against Jones. I mean, he's going to be a great fighter in the UFC. He's got a tough matchup against Jones, but he's legit. Great wrestling, decent kickboxing. I think he's got a good chance to win. Vince Pacell, 8,200, another great option because his path to victory relies on takedowns, which is a good floor for us. I think he does very well against Austin Hubbard. It'll be a close one, so I don't want to have him in too many of my lines, but if he does win, it should score big. And finally, a great safe option at $9,000. One of my favorite plays to win this week is going to be Brian Kelleher. Takedowns, volume, insane power. Plus, he just got knocked out recently, so I think it's his fight to lose as well. And he's a good cash option for me. Talking about a lot of fighters, I mean, it's a 12-fight card. A lot of good options out there. A lot of good mid-range options as well. So many good GPP options as well, especially with Royval and Sherman, as we talked about. But it's overall a great card, and I'm so pumped for it after a week off. I'm ready to go. We've been doing NFL all week, and I've missed my UFC. So make sure to check out our NFL videos as well. Show some love, leave a like, check us out on Twitter, check us out on Instagram, and yeah, let's make some money.